I remember the days when I used to really look forward to grocery shopping. It was really fun to make lists and then go to the store, make it an outing, look for what I wanted, find it, and bring it home. Things are a bit different now. I have 5 young children, which just makes it a bit challenging to do lots of in-person grocery shopping. Also, I've learned more about grocery stores and how the quality of food that's available at grocery stores is often not the best, and I've learned about so many other better alternatives. Now, fairly recently, I shared another video where I talked about where I like to buy food currently, so I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail in that video. I'm going to just cover that really quickly and then get into my meal planning strategy, which is what I want to spend a little bit more time explaining. But just to give a brief recap, or if you're new here, my favorite places to get food currently are, first of all, growing whatever I can myself. So we like to grow various things in a garden. We also like to raise our own meat chickens. We have eggs that we get from our chickens, and then farms. So we get some lamb and beef and pork from farms. And then after that, I have a couple key places that I like to buy things like produce. So Misfits Market is a really nice delivery box that can come once a week, and you can get high quality organic produce at a discount. It's because it's a different size or they had too many of them or something. So it's a great way to save money and still get organic produce. And then the other place that I like to use is Azure Standard. So they are a buying co-op. They do monthly deliveries all around the country if you're in the US, and you can order that way. You go meet the truck and you can save a lot of money buying in bulk. They have really high quality organic all natural foods. So I have been really happy with those two options for buying anything that I can't grow myself or buy directly from farms. And the other thing that I forgot to mention was milk. We get raw milk from a local farm as well. But for Azure Standard, I will get things like pantry staple items. I have vanilla extract here. I will get grains to grind into flour for freshly milled whole grains. I get other flours freshly ground from them. I get dairy things like grass-fed cultured butter. I get raw cheddar cheese from them. I'll get things like baking soda, baking powder, olive oil, apple cider vinegar, just like nice staples. And I get some frozen things from them too. I like their organic cut frozen French fries and hash browns and things like that to keep in the freezer for easy meals. And that's what I like to get from Azure. So let's jump into the meal planning next. I did also want to mention that I will have links down in the description box to everything that I'm mentioning here, just in case you are new to them and want to check them out. This is not sponsored by anybody. These are just things that I have used for years and really, really like. So I hope that somebody else can find them helpful too if they're looking for better options. But now on to the meal planning. So, meal planning. This can be something that can take so much time. It can take a lot of thought. It can be stressful. It could be so many different things, good or bad. Years ago, when life was much less hectic and busy than it is now, I used to be a lot more detailed about meal planning. So I would sit down and I would write out a week or two, sometimes even more, and I would plan exactly what I was going to make for meals and write them down, and then I would kind of shop around that. What I found eventually was that was a good way to overspend on groceries. So over time, I have adjusted. I have become a lot more loose and relaxed, and instead of thinking up specific meals, I work more with a template mindset. I also work around what meat I have to use. So what I like to do is go to my freezer. I will take out the cuts of meat that I want to use and then let them defrost throughout the week and then use them on the days that work work for me. So from farms, like I mentioned before, we like to buy a whole beef. We also like to buy a couple whole lambs, and then we grow our own meat chickens. So I always start with the meat. From time to time, we'll also buy whole pork. This year we didn't do that, so we don't have that. But when we do, I will work that in as well. But what I'll do is I'll take out, like for example, a couple days worth of ground beef, stick those in the refrigerator in the garage, knowing that those will defrost a bit quicker than some other cuts, like say a roast or a whole chicken or something like that. But stay tuned for a hack when it comes to forgetting to defrost meat, because I've been there way more times than I would care to admit. But anyway, when things are going nicely, what I'll do is take those cuts of meat out of the freezer and put them in my garage refrigerator, and I'll go for a variety. So like I said, a couple days worth of ground meat, a roast. I try to always do a roast in there once a week. And then we'll choose something else. So I'll try to do like something different, like maybe a different cut of beef that we don't always do as often. Maybe it's the steaks, maybe it is some brisket, maybe it's a whole chicken, maybe it's lamb chops, maybe it's a lamb stew, something different for one of the days. For example, we'll always do burgers on Sunday. Um, then Monday is always roast. Tuesday is a Mexican theme, and lately I've always been doing ground meat for that day. Wednesday will be something different, maybe the whole chicken, maybe the brisket, maybe the steak, something like that. Thursday will be ground meat again, and that's an Italian theme night. And then Friday will oftentimes be an organ meat. So this could be like a stew with some organ meats in it. It can be liver pate, something like that. And then Saturday lately has always been pizza. So homemade sourdough pizza. So that's my loose template that I follow in my mind. And then I try to go once a week to the freezer, pull out those pieces of meat, and then have them all in the fridge. They start defrosting that way at a nice slow pace to where it's safe. And then I can just go pull them out and use them on the day that I need to make that meal. So let's also talk though about what happens when you're even too things are too hectic to even to remember to take them out and put them in the garage refrigerator, because that's been me on plenty of occasions. So what I'll do then is I'll still stick to the same template. I'll grab my ground beef, hopefully earlier that day, and stick it in some water in the kitchen sink, and it can defrost that way. Or if I didn't even make it to do that, you can cook ground beef from frozen. You just add a little bit of water to your skillet, you put it on a lower temperature, and it will slowly defrost as it starts to cook. It's not as nice as browning thawed ground beef, but it does work, and I've done it plenty of times. So that's how you can work around that. And then how about other cuts? What about your roast? What about your whole chickens? I've been there too. So what I'll do in those instances is just make sure that I start those cuts of meat early enough in the day. I'll start a roast from frozen in the oven. I'll start a whole chicken as chicken soup from frozen, and it can still turn out great. So I will start with the meat, and then I'll just pair vegetables and starches along with it, like keeping frozen vegetables that I can easily pull out of the freezer and just cook. And then I can use a potato or sourdough bread or something like that. And it's really easy to build simple meals that way. So make sure to stay tuned. I share this type of cooking all the time on my channel. Hope you enjoyed that. Please leave me a comment and let me know down below, what method do you use for meal planning? How do you make it work when things are busy? Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.